Good evening, everybody. Today is Tuesday, June 2nd. It's the monthly meeting of the Planning Board. If everyone could stand, please, and say Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, the first item on the agenda would be Woodlands Definitive Subdivision Application, public hearing continued.
Town of Millis Office of the Planning Board notice of public hearing in accordance with the provisions of Chapter 41, Section 81T and 81U Mass General Law. The Planning Board will hold a public hearing on Tuesday, June 2nd, 2026 at 7 p.m. in the Veterans Memorial Building, Room 229, 900 Main Street, Millis, on the application of approval of definitive plan submitted by Woodlands LLC, John Tresca, 66 Main Street, Millis, Mass. 02054, for construction of a proposed 44-lot, single-family residence, open space subdivision north of Main Street along either side of Cottage Ave. Assessors Map 25, parcels 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 42, 44, and 134. Map 52, parcels 16 and 33, Millis, Mass. Copy of the application and plan is on file in the office of the town clerk and on the planning board's webpage. Any person interested or wishing to be heard on the application should appear at the time and place designated. This public hearing is to be continued without discussion by request of the applicant to Tuesday, July 17th at 7:10 p.m. Richard Nichols, Chair.
Was it the 14th?
July 14th?
14th, yeah.
Isn't that what I said?
I think you said 17th, but I might have
Sorry,
heard-
July
I might have heard you-
14th.
I might have heard you wrong.
Sorry.
All right. All right, great. Well, thank you very much for that. Next item on the...
No, we have to vote to...
Oh, sorry, we have to vote to continue. Yes, I make a motion to continue the public hearing to July 14th.
Second.
All right, motion's been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you. Next item on the agenda is waiver of site plan review request for 18 Exchange Street, Wild Lily Aesthetics. If the person could come up and let the folks at home know who you are and what you're looking to do.
Hi.
You have to speak in the mic if you'd be
sorry.
so kind. Yep, thank you.
And yep, unfortunately, you have to pull the mic about 4 inches from
Yep.
your face first.
We make it difficult. We make it struggle.
Hi, I'm Carrie Harrington. I am leasing 18 Exchange Street. I'm going to open an aesthetic studio there, doing facials, eyelash extensions, lash lifts and tints, and yeah, all that stuff.
Okay. And I believe that the location of that was next to the Saigon?
Yes.
Okay. So, and you're looking for a waiver of site plan. Mike, did you have any questions? Because usually, no, you're good? Okay. Usually I go to you, he's our go-to guy. So that was, there was an existing business in that area, and basically you're just taking over the storefront?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right, are there any questions from the board? Any questions from the audience? All right, I make a motion that we grant a waiver of site plan review for 18 Exchange Street, Wild Lily Aesthetics.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, good luck, that was pretty painless. All right, next on the agenda is a special permit with site plan approval, public hearing continued for Middle Millis High School renovation project. And just to let the folks at home know, because I am the chair of the school building committee, I'm actually going to recuse myself from this, this discussion and let Nicole handle that. So I will go back out into the audience and let Nicole do her magic.
Yep.
In accordance with the provisions of Chapter 40A, Section 11 of Mass General Laws, the Planning Board will hold a public hearing on Tuesday, June 2nd, 2026 at 7:05 p.m. in the Veterans Memorial Building, Room 229, 900 Main Street, Millis, on the application of Michelle Callahan, Niche Engineering, 2 Center Plaza, Suite 430, Boston, Mass. 02108, requesting a special permit with site plan review under sections 13C of the zoning bylaws of the town of Millis for work associated with addition renovation of the existing Millis Middle High School for property located at 245 Plain Street, map 30, parcels 21 and 53, Millis, Mass. A copy of the application and site plan is on file in the office of the town clerk and can be viewed at the planning board website. Any person interested or willing to be heard on the application should appear at the time and place designated. Richard Nichols, Chair.
Okay. Michelle, if you want to come up and begin? You can just introduce yourself to everyone in the audience
Yep.
and at home, because
Great.
we have a huge television
Huge
audience.
following. I'm Michelle Callahan. I'm Senior Project Manager at Niche Engineering. I'm working on the Millis Middle High School project. We were here, if you remember, last month introducing the project, and we have a couple of updates since then. We did have a peer review completed by Beta. We received that letter on May 29th, and the comments were relatively minor in nature. We are requesting 4 waivers that we wanted to discuss today. So you can just go through those now, if that's okay? The first waiver is from section 3.5 to allow the site plans to be prepared at a scale of 1 inch equals 30 feet instead of not the required 1 inch equals 40 feet. That was a comment from the Beta peer reviewer, and just suggesting if we could not make that change, just to request a waiver. We are requesting it to keep the plans at 1 inch equal 30 because that lets us accurately show the project scope in a clear way. If we mess with the scale, it would we wouldn't be able to put as much information on the plan. So we're requesting a waiver for that. The next waiver we are requesting has to deal with off-street parking standards. We provided the parking calculation, which stated that we are required to provide 315 spaces. We are currently providing 198 spaces, and that is to match the existing parking capacity that's at the site. We provided earlier in the initial submission a parking study, which basically said the recommendation was to meet the existing parking capacity. The third waiver we're requesting also has to deal with the parking. Your regulations require parking space dimensions of 9 feet by 21 feet. We are asking for the waiver to allow the spaces to be 9 feet by 18 feet. Again, because of the site constraints and trying to maximize parking as best as possible. This was also a waiver that was granted next door at the Clyde Brown School. And then finally, the last waiver has to deal with off-street loading spaces. We are only showing 1 current loading space, where 4 are required under the zoning. Again, this is an existing school. There's 1 loading space here, sufficient for the school's needs. So we're requesting that we just provide the 1 that exists in the existing condition.
Okay. Does the board have any questions with regards to the waivers or Beta's review?
Doesn't look like Beta had any problem with him.
No.
Somebody here, is there somebody here from Beta?
Yeah, he's right here. He's behind the
Oh.
podium. He didn't hear you, sorry.
Sorry. Hi, Stephen Lee with Beta. I did the review. Yeah, we didn't have there weren't any major issues. I think we had a couple questions on, where like an infiltration rate, why they use a certain infiltration rate, but we didn't think that there was anything significant that would, prevent this from moving forward or whatever. It was a solid stormwater design.
Okay.
Yep.
Nothing that possibly could hold up the process, right? In your review, in your opinion?
No,
Okay.
no.
Meaning that if we were to close the public hearing and move forward and simply make that a condition, that information was provided to you, would you be comfortable with that? Or is that something you felt that we should wait till next month?
No, I think that would be fine.
Okay.
Like, the items were so minor in nature that it would be something that, I spoke with Michelle on the phone, so to kind of go over the initial comments, just to let her, we spoke about just how they were minor in nature, and so, again, like, I don't think anything in our letter could absolutely be a condition of approval.
Perfect.
Question? The number of parking spaces is
Yes.
significant variance from our requirements. Do we know, is there a current shortage of parking? Are the current needs being met?
So in the initial submission, there was a parking study completed, which basically evaluated, the parking needs for the site, and it just basically came up with the conclusion that the existing number of spaces were sufficient for what the school site needed. So that's the guidance that the site team went with.
Yeah, I would assume that considering a large portion of the people using the facility are under the age of 16, that's because it's based upon the size, but.
But we also use it for things like town meeting, is multi-use facilities, athletic events.
So in your opinion, the occupant load for the space reflects the parking that's adequate?
Based on the HSH report that studied the parking for the whole, I think they took into account too the campus-wide parking, right? We have Clyde Brown next door, Town Hall nearby, so I think with the adequate parking spaces nearby, I think that was part of their decision as well. But yeah, that initial memo was in the first submission that we made with the
Yeah.
planning board, if you wanted to.
Yeah.
Any details are in there.
Okay.
Does the board have any other questions? George? No. Okay, is there any questions from the audience? All righty. Do you have any questions?
Yeah,
You have to come up to the mic and introduce yourself, please.
Kaz Pierkowski, 78 Corn Street. Just for that significant reduction, was there anything factored in for future growth and enrollment? So if you needed more parking spaces, or is that the current enrollment that you're using for those calculations?
So let me just refer to the memo. Let me see what they studied. So I believe they looked at the proposed condition. So they looked at the proposed occupancy of the school, the number of classrooms based off of the calcs that they had in here.
Should be based off the occupant load calculation of the structure.
Yes, so they said we're including, at this point, it was 194 surface parking spaces. And that was deemed to be adequate by Howard Stein Hudson. So they said, here we go. The proposed project is based on an enrollment of no more than 645 students in grades 6 through 12. And the number of staff is expected to remain consistent at the current 80-person level.
I don't know that the current 80-person staffing level is going to hold. There was a pretty strong movement to hire new teachers just a year ago. Wait till the teachers go. So I'm not comfortable that the current 80-person level is going to remain the staffing level.
I will just say parking was maximized on the site to the greatest extent practicable. We were limited by the site constraints. You can see we have neighboring wetlands, so there's limits as to how close we could get and how much parking we could realistically add. Because it's an existing site, with the existing building footprint, not a lot of flexibility with that.
Well, if it's based on the occupant load of the calculation of the structure, then it wouldn't matter if they're gonna add more employees or not. It would be how many people they can put in the building. The parking's based upon the occupant load calculation.
Which means there is always the possibility that the occupant load is based upon that
The
standard
space.
calculation,
Yeah.
but there could be, if the town does grow, there could be more people in there.
Then they would exceed the occupant load, that'd be a violation of the state building code.
True, but that happens all the time with schools. And you're not going to kick kids out of school because it exceeds the occupancy load. So I'm not sure how you would
I'm
address
just
that.
saying the regulation.
I don't know, I understand that. That's part of the problem.
I will just note, so in the initial submission, we did provide the parking calc based off of your regulations. And really what drives that number up is the number of seats in the auditorium. If you look, we've calced out the number of parking demand based off of the classrooms, and we do exceed that number. So it's really the auditorium seat number that's driving that required parking number up from your regulations.
George?
Is the full parking for the entire school, is it separated for staff and for students? Are they in different locations?
Yeah, so for, from your regulation, we calculate based off of, you require 2 spaces per junior high classroom, 4 spaces per senior high classroom, and then 1 space per 4 seats in the auditorium. So that number is for the whole school, that requirement that we provide, 315, that's based off of everything in the school.
Okay, but we're dropping it down to 198?
Right, because if you look in the submission, you need 187 based off of your regulations just for the auditorium seats alone.
Okay, yeah. Well, at town meeting and what have you, it's just, people park anywhere, so it doesn't really matter at that point. So,
It's all owned by the town.
right.
Yeah, at town meeting, there's parking along Park Street, along, in
Right.
the, over here in this lot. It's not.
So are you counting the town hall as some of the parking?
No, that's just the spaces on the middle high school
Okay,
campus. Yeah.
all right. So none of this out back here by the fields is counted?
Nope. I have a site plan too, it could pull up to show you those numbers. Yeah, that's the plan. Warner Larson, who is the landscape architect who designed the parking layout, they're not, unfortunately not here today, but this is showing where the parking spaces are called out here. So that's where that number comes from.
And currently, there's parking on Park Street during the school. So there are kids, whether they're employees or they're students,
Right.
that park on Park Street in the school day.
Okay,
I don't know if that's a result of lack of parking or out of choice. Or it's students that arrive after the
Convenience.
beginning of the school day.
Yeah.
You said the current parking out here is 198?
Yeah, so it's matching
Okay.
the existing. I'm just trying to look.
This map
Which-
only shows 194.
Let me just double check on Warner Larson's number. I don't believe, Beta, I don't think you you didn't comment on that parking, right? The number of parking, just that it would need a waiver.
Right. Yes, yeah, the parking.
Yeah, it says 198 parking spaces are proposed.
Yeah, so right here on this, it says 104. But if you look at the spots on that map, it's, adds up to 108. I mean, no, 40, 50, 84. That's what happens when I try to do math in my head. All right.
There might be a table on the initial, if you have the plan set from the initial plan, Warner Larson's site plan, I think they did put the parking count in a table on their plans.
And this?
Nope, I think it's in the other packet right there, yeah.
Clyde Brown, right? This is strictly high school.
Beta, did you have a comment on the parking in your review?
No, we didn't comment on the parking aside from the waiver.
I mean, unfortunately, at this point, parking is what it is, and even if a special permit's not granted, that, it's not gonna change the parking or the, or the number of students, whether it increases over time. Parking is what it is. So as much as I would like to see adequate parking there, I don't think that issue is something to stall it, for us to stall it here, because I don't know what the resolution would be, other than to send the whole thing back to the drawing board and take down,
Parking garage,
what?
parking garage,
Yeah, yeah, because we got that kind of cash.
yeah.
I don't know, it's our job to resolve it. I think we need to look at the facts and decide if it fits. I'm not comfortable with the number of teachers is going to remain at 80. This is being sold as an improvement that's going to make the town more desirable, that's going to attract more students, population's going to increase, number of teachers will increase. Basing the number of parking things just barely adequate for the current population doesn't satisfy me.
I think it's also based on the classroom sizes though, right? So I think even if the number of teachers, like that's not a factor in how you calculate required parking from your regulation. So it's taking into account just the number of junior high classrooms, just the number of senior high classrooms, and then the seats in the auditorium. So this is based off of the capacity for the school based on those classrooms.
And that's how the statute is
Yeah.
interpreted.
Right. Meets the occupant load.
So if it meets the occupant load, I don't think we can,
So you're stating that it's based on the number of classrooms, not number of students in the classrooms?
Yes, that's the way that your regulations require the required parking spaces to be calculated, based off of classrooms and then auditorium seats.
Do you have this available?
Yeah, so that's in the, it should be, I can bring this up to you, but it's in the initial site plan review application. Yep,
What page are we looking at,
page
please?
7.
Are these our requirements or the state's?
Yeah.
Where it just
Yep.
saying it's HSH's?
So the parking, so that's, the HSH is the parking, they did the parking study that's included in the back, but these are from your zoning bylaw. Schools require 2 parking spaces per classroom for junior high school and 4 per classroom for senior high school, plus 1 space for 4 seats in any auditorium or gymnasium, whichever has the larger capacity.
Plus 1 for each auditorium. What's the capacity for the gymnasium?
I don't know off the top of my head. I know the auditorium is 748, which I think the gym must be smaller than that because we use the auditorium seats, because it said whichever is larger.
more seats in the auditorium than in the gym. So that's what it's,
Whichever has the larger capacity, so we used auditorium.
well, because it's not, the seating is based upon the bleachers.
Gotcha,
So,
okay.
Not the whole space of the gym. It's not calculated on the whole space of the gym, it's the bleachers.
So, classroom space is
So 2/3 of
128.
the required spaces. 5 spaces shy.
What do you think?
I'd come up with a couple $1 million to build a parking garage.
Okay, other than that,
Mhm.
you want to pull out your wallet?
As far as I'm concerned, it's okay, meets the regulation.
It doesn't, the
Well-
regulation is 315.
Well,
They're saying 198, 194, actually.
unless you want to build a parking garage.
Oh, can't say it meets the regulation, it
Yeah.
doesn't meet the regulation.
They
Well,
say,
that's why they're asking for the waiver.
Right.
that's why they're asking for the waiver.
All right, there any other questions? Okay, then I'm going to make a motion that, well, we have the question of whether this is, we close the public hearing and review the waivers and go forward, or if we continue to next month and I'm not an engineer, and I don't know if
Well,
this can be resolved.
we can debate it and do some research on it and hold off for another month just to, satisfy the questions that are raised
So you
and,
want-
and the
so-
possibilities of trying to correct it and what that would include. I mean, you can, that's an option.
All right, so the question,
We can,
so,
we can go back to, Beta and have them give us, a reason and an option, if there are any options. And the only option I
I'm
see
going
is,
to ask Beta right now.
the only
if
option
they
I
feel
see is a
there are-
parking garage, that's the only
I'm going to
option.
ask Beta, I mean, Beta's here, let's ask them right now if there are any options. I mean,
What's
that's,
the
we need a
option?
month for them to tell us that.
Hi, so my first thought was that, is the requirement for parking, is it 304 now as it sits? Basically, is the lot existing non-conforming when it comes to parking? Like, as it sits now, does the high school meet parking code?
I would, no, but would have to run the numbers to get exactly how much it doesn't meet by.
Okay, so, off the top of my head, it's like, are you making it worse? But ultimately, we don't know. It would be on the applicant to find more areas for parking spaces. But my first thought was that if it's existing non-conforming for parking, then having it be non-conforming in the proposed, there are certain, I don't know the bylaws off the top of my head, but there are certain allowances for existing non-conforming in some zoning regulations. So that's my thought off the top of my head. I don't know if another month, from our perspective, will yield anything. From our, for us to review their plans again, we're not going to get any further as far as, like, where parking stalls are, the number of parking stalls. I understand you are a completely different thing, just from our perspective. It's just a matter of if you'd like to grant the waiver. Like, a waiver for parking happens sometimes, so it's a matter, it's in your court,
Right.
as far as we're concerned. Thank you.
The only way I can see around this to get the adequate parking is to construct a 3-story parking garage to add more parking spaces, and we don't have the money to do that.
Well, it's either going to be to add a parking garage, or it's going to be to remove part of the proposed construction and take down building and add parking, which would then, if you're
Redesign.
taking part of the building down, then you're reducing the parking numbers. And my personal opinion is we need the classrooms more than we need the parking. I mean, I do think that if there are issues While I understand it is a publicly used building and it is open for events, the main purpose is for the school. And if it comes down to reducing the parking, that there's a reduced parking, the school's gonna have to be creative, and maybe they hold a lottery for what senior, or only seniors can have access to parking. Or there's a lottery, if they can only accommodate X number of kids parking and they have Y number, they hold a lottery or something to that effect. There are options to work around that. Personally, I don't see holding off on moving forward, trying to come up with where you're going to put parking, because, again, if you're not gonna put a three-story parking lot, you're gonna have to tear down buildings. Did you have a?
Yeah, Steve Van Leon, I'm with Tape Architects. So the main site constraint here is also the fact that we are not touching the fields, and so in order to expand the parking, we would have to encroach upon the fields, which are not part of this project.
So I'm going to make a motion that we close the public hearing.
Second.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. All those opposed? Passes unanimously. Okay. So what I would like to do next is go through these waivers one by one. And if there are any comments or questions, and then we can vote on the first being the waiver to prepare the scale of the plans from at 1 inch equals 30 feet as opposed to the 1 inch equals 40 feet. I make a motion that we accept that waiver.
Second.
Okay, motion has been made and seconded. All those in, actually, both of them. Whoever you want. All those in favor?
Aye.
Second waiver, section 13.4, off-street parking to reduce the parking space, the allowed parking spaces in 198 from the total of 115. I make that motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Okay, that passes 3-1. Third waiver is for section 13B3, minimum parking stall dimensions, reducing the parking dimensions from 9 by 21 feet to 9 by 18 feet. Do I have a second on that?
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay, passes unanimously. The fourth is for the off-street loading standards, Section 8, Table 5, to the reduction from 4 loading spaces to the 1 for the 1 loading dock that currently exists in the school. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Motion passes. Okay, so those 4 waivers have been granted.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I said congratulations.
Oh, were there weren't any other conditions? Okay. Okay, then I make a motion that we approve the site plan, the special permit with site plan review with the conditions as listed.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, Alan said no. So that motion passes 3-1. Okay,
Thank you.
that's it. Thank you.
All right, it was nice to see it from the other side of the aisle. There we go. All right, next item on the agenda would be waiver of site plan review request for 16 through 18 Exchange Street, Saigon Restaurant. And I think, somebody, and, sorry, I'm just gonna look here. David Lam is here to present.
Hi, my name is I'm David Lam. I'm taking over the Saigon restaurant.
Sorry, if you could start again,
Hi,
sorry.
sorry.
So, yeah.
I'm David Lam, and I'm taking over the Saigon restaurant. I'm not planning to do any major construction there. The restaurant used to be a full dining restaurant. It has been served as a takeout since after COVID. As soon as I'm taking over, I'm planning to reopen the dining area to serve customer, and I'm hoping the board approve my waiver request for the site planning.
Okay. The only question I had on it, just because everyone told me how good it was, but I never made it down there. But did they have in-house dining prior to COVID?
Yes.
And,
Yeah.
and so, okay, so
How many
that
seats?
seemed to work, so, okay, because I never actually, although I heard it was fantastic, I never went there. And then they closed, so, go ahead,
Just
Mike.
one question, Mr. Chairman. I can't remember how many seats that were in there.
I don't know on top of my head, but
I wanna
I would say around,
34, I think.
Yeah.
I want to say around 32, 34.
yeah.
Is that right?
Under 40.
Yeah.
Okay,
Just for the record.
all right, good, thank you. All right, were there any comments from,
There
yep, go
was
ahead.
no alcohol at the previous restaurant. Are you
No
planning on
alcohol.
Obtaining a license for alcohol?
No, I'm not planning to do that at this time.
Go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, handicap parking, is there a handicap parking spot out front for it? Or?
I don't know that on top of my head, sure, but I can look into that.
Yeah, we'd have to check, you should check on that, because that's a town, I don't think that's.
That's a town
That's a
parking
town
spot.
parking, so that might be something you may have to go to, you may have to go to the DPW
DPW, yeah.
or the select board and ask to have one added. So we do have a,
Either that or you can ask for a variance at the AAB, the Architectural Access Board. You can ask for a variance because there's no parking.
Oh,
You can
okay.
do one of two things.
you'll need that for your building permit, that's why he's saying that.
Hmm.
So either you need to get the waiver from the AAB, or you need to go to the select board and ask if they could letter one of those spaces as handicapped.
Okay, understood, yeah.
Mr. Chairman?
Go ahead.
I think he indicated he wasn't going to do any building right now, but he's going to have a certificate of inspection to reopen, which will require the building official to go in there and evaluate emergency lights, exit lights, handicap parking spaces, so that's why I bring it up.
Yep,
Yeah,
yep, it's a good thing to, giving them a heads up ahead of time, so.
yeah.
All right, any other questions? Go ahead, George.
Well, now that they've redone the sidewalk and the parking there, how many spaces did they take away? Do we know?
That I can't tell you. I stayed away
What
from
was
that
the
area
question?
when they did it. Did
Well,
they take away any parking?
When they redid
The island.
the,
Yeah, they
no,
redid
I
the
don't
island
think
and
any
they,
of the-
they put another island in and what have you, and a new sidewalk.
There's the parking at the library, and a sidewalk passes through. There's plenty of parking there.
Well, yeah, that's true, but does he need a parking spot out front? Or does he have, or can he have it in the,
Oh, the
Library-
handicap spot?
yeah,
Well, he'll have to evaluate that.
Yeah, that would be, I would
That'd
think
be the
based on the
building, yeah.
building inspector,
hmm,
excuse me, the building commissioner.
okay. Because I don't think there were any handicap spots there before either,
Mm-mm.
so.
They were
No,
lucky
it's
if there were
handy-
lines.
Yeah. There's a handicapped spot further up the street near Vic Lane, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's
What was the name of that other restaurant? I forgot.
Lucas?
Yeah,
Mm.
Yeah.
I don't know, but that's not our jurisdiction,
yeah, that's,
so,
just to make them aware of it, that's all.
yeah.
Yep, no, good to know. All right, if there's nothing else, no comments from the audience? All right, I make a motion that we grant the waiver of site plan review for 16 through 18 Exchange Street, Saigon Restaurant.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, good luck.
Thank you, sir, appreciate it, Tom.
Thank you.
I
Good
have
luck.
a question, so how do we go about to request that handicap parking spot?
That one you'll have to talk to, I would call I'd probably call the town hall.
Yeah,
And,
call the clerk's office.
Call them.
No, I'd call it, I'd call Karen, actually Karen Beret, she's or Mike Kaczynski, they're the town manager and his assistant. They could give you the right person to go to on that.
Thank you. Thank
Great.
you. Board.
Thank you. All right, okay, next item on the agenda is we're going to have we are missing a member because Jim McKay, after many years, actually was elected to the select board, so we have a empty position to fill, and we're doing it a little differently than we've done in the past. We're actually going to have some interviews here to do it, because this is actually almost like a marriage, because when you become part of the planning board, you're here forever. So I've been here for 15 years. You've been here longer than me.
16 or 17.
Mike's been here, it seemed like yesterday. You've been here for, what, 4 or 5 years? Something like that.
3 or 4,
years, yeah.
yeah.
So, Alan, I think you're,
6.
yeah, 6.
Yeah.
So we
George
want
has
to,
been here for
and-
over 20.
and George has been here for,
25.
we didn't even
25.
ask. Yeah, yeah. So we want to actually.
George is never allowed to leave.
Yeah, true.
Veteran.
So what we want to do is we're going to, just so the folks at home know, we're going to have everybody come up. We've got 5 questions that we have ahead of time that we're going to ask you all the same questions, then we may throw 1 or 2 random questions in. And we're going to interview all of you, and then we're going to make a decision, we hope tonight, on what person that we have decided to pick or recommend to the select
Yeah,
board.
that was actually my question.
Go ahead.
Will we make a recommendation
Yes.
tonight, and then
Then we present that to the select board, then they can
and
either
then
if
they
approve.
vote upon
Correct.
our recommendation?
Correct.
Or do we, together with the select board?
It's a joint, we have to have a. we
No,
have
I
to
know,
go
but
to-
my question was, do the 5 of us, along with the 3 of them, vote at one time?
Yes, we all
Or
have
did
to
they
go to the
vote
meeting.
upon our recommendation?
From what, the last I saw, what they sent out, it was going to be a joint meeting between, but did that change?
No, it's still supposed to.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's my understanding that you're going to be meeting, I have to post a meeting for the 15th for you folks to meet with the select board, and it's a joint appointment. You
Okay,
folks
so
are
the
making
8
a
of us-
recommendation, but I believe you have to be there in attendance as well as the select board. And it's, so in order for them to make the appointment, you folks do have to have a
No, I
quorum
didn't
and
know
be
if
there.
they were then going to vote whether to accept our appointment, or if they were going to say, all of 8 of us are going to vote at one time. That was my question.
No, I think you make a recommendation, I send a memo, like I have in the past, I send a memo to the select board saying, the planning board recommends the appointment of this person, and then the appointment actually takes place at their meeting, but it's a joint with you folks.
Yeah, I know that's how we've done it in the past, but what was coming out of the select board's office was confusing.
Yeah, well, it was a little confusing. I think we
So,
straightened it
That
out.
was all my,
I think it's the select board
Okay.
that ultimately makes the appointment. So I believe you can make a recommendation.
All right, and I had one more thing. Oh, the other thing is that this appointment is only to fill the remaining term of Jim McKay's, so that would be 2027, I believe.
May of 2027.
Right, so basically it's 1 year, and then the person will have to run again to be elected to the position and to go forwards. So I'm going to pick Kaz first, because he was here, and he likes the abuse. So if you could stand up, and if you go to the mic, you can just have a seat. Yeah, have a seat. And so I will read the first question. I'll let.
well, let him
Nicole-
introduce himself.
Oh, sorry. Well,
Okay, yeah, I'm sorry, I already introduced myself.
Yeah, so let-
Kaz
actually-
Pierkowski, 70 Acorn Street. I've been a resident in town for about 38 years now.
Yeah, actually, I was going to say, that was the first thing I was going to say, is that if you could tell us a little bit about yourself, you could actually get a few more minutes if you want, if you have
Okay.
anything else, yeah.
So, again, I've lived here for 38 years. I started hanging around here in high school, met my wife, and have, made my family here. I was on the fire department for 30 years, started in '89 and finally finished up in 2019, because I do 2 different fire departments. So that was my hobby before. So now I find myself with a little extra time and feel like I have some time for the planning board. Our kids live in town. We've got 3 of them. And I'm here to see what I can do to help guide us with some more sustainable
Perfect,
stuff.
great. Well, thanks for that, appreciate it. So the first question we had is, what do you perceive your role as being, as a planning board member entailing? So what do you, from your perspective, if you're on the planning board, what do you see your ability to do in that position?
So I see we talked about some site plan review, calculations, that kind of stuff, and I've been in the construction business as well. That was my first job, and I still remain in the construction field. So I think I bring a lot of knowledge based on what I've had to do as far as permitting, understanding how to read plans, seeing, setbacks and whatnot, different subdivision plans that I reviewed in the past for development. I pick up a lot here and there, and that's kind of the thing I do. So I need to make sure that those are compliant. And, when I'm purchasing, so that's that. And then making sure that it looks right, appropriate, and it's not obtrusive or a safety issue.
Cool, thank you. Nicole, do you want to read the next one?
Oh, okay. What qualities or experience do you bring to the table for the open position, and how do you think they will help the planning board?
Again, I'm used to being an employee of the town, and I think I've had some experience with that, where, for 30 years, I was, part of the public safety here. And I feel I can bring a lot from that, knowing what it takes when reviewing a subdivision or something like that, anticipating what different vehicles, emergency vehicles, would, require for space, and a lot, a lot of that would be added to what I've got.
Cool. Alan, you get to read your own question?
Sure, absolutely. And I can see on your background, you've somewhat answered it. Are you considering a position on another board? And along with that, is the planning board your first choice? And if there's a conflict, would you choose the planning board over the other position?
I did apply for the Housing Authority position a short time ago. That was through the governor's office, and that's been taking a while. They have to do the background, my resume, my cover letter. Those meeting times do not conflict. The Housing Authority meets at 4:30 in the afternoon, and I believe it's on Wednesdays. So the Tuesday meeting doesn't conflict at all.
Cool. Mike?
Oh, my turn.
Your turn.
Wait, I have my glasses on.
Oh.
What number are you on, 4? All right, do you have any experience on any other board?
Any other board?
Well, you're on the fire department.
Well,
so-
is that a board? I was part of the leadership there. I was, when I retired as the captain. I was the training captain, so I was, charged with creating training plans, reviewing that, reviewing different, methods of, handling the task of fighting fires, doing rescues and whatnot. So that's my extent, of that.
Okay.
We've also, with some of that, because of the position I was in, I sat on your side of this type of situation where I was asking these same questions to some of the candidates that we brought on board.
And then second part is experience as far as housing, site development, and any short education on housing. You've been a builder for quite some time, so you have a lot of experience in
I would say
construction, that's for sure.
a fair amount of experience with that. Some of the things that I really pride myself in is not giving up on certain properties. We just completed one that was slated as a tear down for other folks. So when it was brought to us, I was able to have the vision to kind of keep some of that old character, some of that historic character to the property, and I was able to renovate it to a point where it's tastefully done, and we didn't tear down an important piece of history in town.
All right, thank you. Let's see here. And let's see, what was the last one? George.
George has number 5.
Yep.
We're going to leave number 6 to Nicole.
We were going to leave number 6 is optional. We put that down as
Is it
optional.
my favorite ice cream, or or my favorite color?
No, number 6 was my important
That's her important question. Do you have any specific agenda you want to pursue? I mean, what would you like to see for the town, neighborhoods, housing? You know, what do you proceed with, not proceed, but what do you think about 40B?
So, you know, there's no specific agenda, but recently, my youngest daughter has been looking for a home, and, you know, she seems to be, you know, priced out. It's going to be very difficult for her to do that. So, you know, I hope that, you know, we can, you know, as we guide us through, we can find, you know, ways to increase the housing stock, you know, here in town, with some sustainable growth that isn't, again, not obtrusive. It's done tastefully, and you know, we can have people either afford to stay in town or you know, afford to, you know, start families in town. It's been great for me. My kids, you know, still love it enough to live here. So their first opportunity they got, they stayed here. So I hope that we, you know, we can use, you know, what we do have available and make sure that we're doing it appropriately, tastefully, and we have that stock there for everybody else without going too crazy.
All right, great. Well, thank you. I'm going to we're going to run and let the next group, thank you for taking the time to do that. And
Sure.
Thanks for the answers, appreciate it. So, I think Michael, would that be? No, who was I'm sorry, the next person. Oh, sorry. David, sorry. I had Michael stuck in my head. Okay. All right. So if you could just let the folks at home know, take a few minutes and tell us about yourself.
Yeah, I've been a 34-year resident in Millis, moved here in 1992. I've recently retired, so certainly have time on my hands to, you know, work on this position. I had a career in environmental consulting, first part of my career, which included being a licensed site professional, opining on environmental contaminated sites. In the latter half of my career, I was in commercial insurance, specializing in environmental risks.
Cool. All right. So you may have heard these questions before. So, but anyhow, what do you perceive your role as being a planning board member entailing?
I mean, I think just following the bylaws and looking at every property and for its merits, and, you know, basically using the rules that we have on hand to you know, for the development. Yeah.
Okay. Nicole?
What qualities or experience do you bring to the table for the open position, and how do you think they will help the planning board?
Well, I mean, I think it's, as a perspective as an environmental consultant, I think it brings a different skill set to the board. Certainly, there's contaminated sites in town that perhaps have come in front of you in the past, but I think that's, and then as an LSP, you know, opining on contaminated sites, I'm very familiar with subsurface investigations and site plans and soil management in the pre-characterization stages of development. We worked with portfolios, every different type of manufacturing site I've looked at. I'm very familiar with those types of things, yeah.
Okay, great. Number 3, Alan?
Are you considering a position on any of the boards?
I am not.
Oh, Mike? You get the glasses on, you gotta be ready.
I know, fell asleep. All right, you have any experience on any other board?
I do not.
Okay. Experience as far as housing, site development, or any sort of education on housing? Do you have anything
Just
on that?
as noted, it would be kind of like the pre-development stages where we would go in and do investigations. We would characterize soils for removal, so it might be, you know, if they're doing a basement or basement parking, we would go in there and classify soils, see if there's other contamination issues we have to deal with to facilitate the geotechnical work that would be following.
All right, George?
What specific agendas do you have that you want to pursue?
I mean, I think there's a lot of opportunities in town. There are some, you know, sites that perhaps, for me, on an environmental basis, that could probably be looked at a little bit more closely. I think there are opportunities to redevelop some of those sites. I would be very interested in that. Because I think a lot of it is in the core of the town as well, that we could definitely dig down and look to see if we can get funding in some way to facilitate cleanup and redevelopment.
Even after this, you should reach out to our Bob Weiss. I think that might be, there's the planning director for the town. I think, no matter what happens, I think he would be a good contact for you to make, because I think you have a lot of knowledge that would be helpful.
Yep.
No matter what happens,
Sure.
one way or the other, so. All right, great, and the last person, we're all set. Thank you, appreciate your time, thank you. Elizabeth, sorry. Yeah. I read it earlier today. I know it's on my thing. I know, but I didn't open my packet up, so. All right, anyhow.
This is our fearless leader.
Yes, well, I know. Till I'm deposed. There'll be an uprising. Anyhow, and so you're the third one in, so here you go. You probably memorized the questions.
You're a pro, right?
But first, if you could do us a favor and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yep. So I'm Liz Johnson. I've lived in Millis for.
Can you just lean a little closer,
Sure.
because otherwise, one of the cable guys is going to come in.
Come in, yell
at us. I've lived here in Millis since 2017, so almost 10 years. I live with my husband and my 2 young kids. I'm interested in getting involved more because we've been out about in town. We're with the little kids, library or soccer practice, and meeting some more people and getting it feels like the right time to get more involved in the community. And my kids are gonna be entering school in the next couple years. And yeah, just looking to get involved in a meaningful way. So my background is in, I started out in architecture, but I'm currently a project manager for the last 15 years, mostly large-scale utility projects in the, so electrical substations, transmission lines. So I'm used to finding myself on the other end of a forum like this, but I thought it be a nice, would dovetail nicely with my professional career and my desire to want to be more active in the community.
Great. Well, thank
That's
you.
me.
So number one would be, what do you perceive your role as being a planning board member? So how do you see yourself fitting in to the group?
Sure. So I have a lot of experience in site plan review. I'm used to being driving projects from permitting through construction. So I'm very familiar with like the other side, and I want to learn more about the town and driving the mission of the planning board to further make Millis and continue to make Millis a good place to live and have a family.
Okay, great.
What qualities or experience do you bring to the open position, and how do you think they would help the planning board?
Yeah, so I have a lot of experience in project management, site plan review, permitting, all the way from federal, state, and local. And I think the local, or where you have a lot of say to make the character of the town something special and maintain the feel for the master plan for years to come. So it starts here.
Are you considering a position on any other boards?
No.
Michael, glasses?
Oh, boy. So you don't have any other experience on any other boards, right?
Also no.
No, okay. And do you have any experience as far as housing and site development? I know you mentioned that you had a lot of experience in permitting and being on that side of the table, but Was it for utilities?
Yeah, but I spent about 3 years in a small firm doing architecture, schools, housing, single-family, residential, and my husband and I like to do projects around the house too, so.
Thank you.
What do you have as a specific agenda?
I have no specific agenda. I'm here to learn and contribute where I can for the skills I have from my career and just being a member of the community. So, yeah, no specific agenda for me.
All right, great. All right, well, thank you very much, appreciate it.
Mr. Chair?
One question I have to ask all the applicants. Right now, we have a position, sorry, we have a subdivision that is going forwards that if one of you happens to be in a butter with would be problematic, because then you wouldn't be able to sit on that decision, which would leave us shorthanded. So are any of you butters to the Woodlands by any chance, which is the one off of J. Williams Heights or off of Main Street? No? Okay, good, just because that would we'd gain a member, but then we wouldn't be able to have that member participate, so.
So, and the most important question that you don't have to answer today, but you do all have to seriously consider, is whether you're willing to kick your fellow members under the table if they talk too much or go down a rabbit hole, and whether or not you will take offense if somebody kicks you under the table. So just for you to consider.
Because that happens here.
A lot.
All right. So, the question is, so what we have to do is, we'll have to, well, the question is, how do we want to handle this? Do we want to, I think the easiest thing. Yeah, I think what on that is, what we want to do on this is, if you guys don't mind, thank you for coming and presenting. We want to talk amongst ourselves, so if you don't mind letting
Well,
us go.
I think what we should do is finish up with everything else that is public and then go into executive session.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, we'll do that. Fair enough. Okay. All right.
Thank you all for,
Yeah,
I mean,
thanks for
you're
coming.
welcome to stay for the rest of the meeting, and then we will go into executive session.
All right, let's see here. Other business, zoning bylaw amendment discussion regarding auto sales in the CV district. So if, Alan, if you want to bring that up?
So when someone wishes to buy a used car, they have a couple of options. They can buy from a private seller, they can buy from a car dealer. The third thing that people often do is ask their mechanic. And very often a mechanic will have a car available for sale. The customer trusts their mechanic. The mechanic's going to review the car. If they bought a car somewhere else, they might bring it to him to look at anyway. Right now, we do not allow car sales in CV. My proposal is, and this is in the public interest, to allow what I would call accessory car sales that would allow a business that is primarily in the business of automotive repair or an automobile service station to keep up to 3 cars on their lot. It wouldn't increase traffic. Places are going to have parking already. It's not going to cause congestion on their property. Seems pretty straightforward. We have a number of like businesses now that are already doing this because they're grandfathered in or whatever from whenever when we established the rule of no selling used automobiles in CV. So I'd like to get that on the fall town meeting.
Question?
Go ahead.
By special permit or by right?
Special permit.
By the planning board?
Yes.
I would say the only other thing I would have on that is obviously think we'd have some conditions where, I mean, I got it, we just, what I would not be a fan of is the cars, right up against the sidewalk. They'd want them there for visibility, obviously, but, we'd want to have it so it's, you got them, but they're set back a little bit type of thing, so it's not.
Well, they would be in their designated parking
Yeah.
spaces.
Yeah.
Right now, if you go to, I don't want to mention specific businesses, but there are
businesses
repair
that are there
shops
that have,
selling
yeah.
used cars now
Yeah.
that do have the cars right up against the street with prices in the window and so on.
Yeah.
But they're in their designated parking areas on their lots.
Well, they're on those, and that's something that I think you had done something with when you were building inspector. I mean, there is the whole idea on that, my concern would be to have it where it is, like we had the issue with Steve's Sheds. Steve's Rentals where the sheds kept on creeping
Right.
closer to the street.
I agree with that.
So I think on it, I'm okay with it, and if they're set back a certain distance, so, they're visible, but it's not in your face, because, they want to have the best visibility for the sales, however, we don't want people to drive into Millis and think, oh, if I want to go to buy a used car, I'm going to go to Millis, because they got the cars right up in the.
I would be okay with restricting it to not showing the prices in the windows.
No, windows, that's fine, no, I just think it back a little bit from the street would be fine, I don't think that's an issue, in
Well,
my mind.
The licensing through the Board of Selectmen was it a Class 2, Class 3 license that they have to achieve as well? And once they do that, every year they get relicensed, and the fire chief and the building inspector goes to make sure that they're in conformance to the conditions. So
So they could
you
condition.
can put, through the special permit process, we
Yeah.
can have them do a site plan and
Yeah.
show where it's gonna be and how far off, and have that as a condition, and that would be enforced every year.
Okay. And the only thing is, Camille, you had one thing on the,
Well, we're still working with general code to implement the bylaws being uploaded, and I just got my first email to work with an editor, and I got sent this big thing that's like 40 pages long that they're starting to format the zoning bylaws as amended at the November town meeting. So until we're up and running with them, my suggestion would be to hold off on any bylaw amendments, because we have a bunch coming from the zoning bylaw committee. We want to update the temporary structures bylaw and this, and I just can't see piecemealing it, because it's going to be an additional cost each time I think we want to, after the November town meeting, do anything. But I just think we should take a little break on doing any bylaw amendments unless absolutely necessary until we're up and running with general code. That's just my opinion. Well, we're working now, we have a timetable, I have to get something back to them by June 25th, and it's gonna be a long process, but I just think it's best, and so does the IT director, to hold off on making any further bylaw amendments until we're up and running with them, and then we go through them, and it's a lot of an easier process. Right now, it's very labor-intensive. Even just to make a minor change is very labor-intensive. So it would be my suggestion to hold off on anything until we're up and running with them.
That makes sense.
Just like, Camille had mentioned that earlier, and, I think that if let's get that straightened out, but, I don't really, like I said, I don't think it's a bad thing. Go ahead, George.
I think we have to be very careful with it, because I think you're going to open up a bag of worms. I'm not against it, but I don't want to end up looking like Medway, where, every place you look, there's a used car lot or what have you. I'm not sure what Meehan's going to do. I think he's opening up a dealership in this new project he's doing on 109. And most of these guys, and I'm pretty sure there's a law in Massachusetts, you can sell up to 3 cars a year anyhow, if I remember correctly. I may be wrong, but you can sell at least 3 cars a year, personally,
As a private seller.
so, as a private seller. But we got to be real careful and have a lot of rules and regulations, because you know as well as I do, someone's going to, oh, he did this, well, I'm going to do this now, that sort of thing. So
Yeah.
we just have to cover our butt. And, the other thing's going to happen, if this goes to town meeting, there's going to be a lot of questions. People don't want to see used car lots everywhere.
Yeah.
So,
Well, that's why the proposal is to include it in businesses that are already in automotive repair, there's already vehicles in various states of repair on the premises.
yeah, how many do we have in town? Did you make any?
4, 5, 6, well, even more if you get into the industrial area.
Yeah,
You have Union Street, you have one on the corner of Exchange Street, you have the gas station, doesn't sell cars, you have the one on Village Street,
Well,
you have the tire shop on Union Street.
if you blanket this to the CV district, then anybody could do it. They just have to come and and apply for a special permit. It wouldn't be site-specific. It'd be zoning district-specific.
Right.
So that's under George's point. Then anybody who could want to turn their existing business, or maybe turn it and sell it,
But all those other businesses are already selling cars.
I
All of them.
understand that, whether they're pre-existing non-conforming and they can,
Yeah.
or they're doing it illegally, but if you blanket it in a zoning district, then anybody in that zoning district, then if it gets approved through the town meeting, then they could possibly do it. That's the only, point that I would make out.
Mr. Chair?
Go ahead.
I think if you're going to do something like this, you've got to have more than just the blurb in here under the use table. I think it would be beneficial to have. You'd have, well, not just a definition, whether you wanted to do an actual bylaw that listing it, defining it as an accessory use that is only for, and then limiting what primary, this is an accessory use that's only allowed with certain primary uses.
Yeah, automotive repair and automotive service station.
Could the zoning bylaw committee have a look at that, put some input on it? Or is it too late for them? Is it over?
No, they could, but you'd have to propose what you want. I don't know that the review committee would need to, it would just come straight to this board.
Well, yeah, you can get input from everybody on the
Yeah,
board,
you
right?
can.
See what they think,
Yeah,
get
it
some
could go,
opinion
but
from
you'd
them.
but you'd want to, you'd need your proposal of what, are you gonna do just have it as a definition of what of an accessory use and list it in the use table, or are you gonna actually establish a bylaw that has that has specific setbacks or what have you? That decision would have to be made and presented.
Right.
If you want to work, Ellen, if you want to work on getting something started, we can kick it around. That's fine.
Perfect.
Yeah, that works. Cool.
We've got plenty of time.
No, but that's fine. Like I said, I don't think you didn't hear any no's. I think we have to be careful on how we set it up, I think, what it comes down to, so.
Thank you, everybody.
No, thank you. All right, I make a motion that we approve the minutes from May 12th as written.
Second.
All right, motion's been made and second. All in favor?
Right.
All right, correspondence bills. Do we have any bills, or are we all good?
You just need to sign the decision page for the, no, we don't have any bills.
Okay, we can do that afterwards. And then we have to make an August meeting, and then we can go into executive session. So, let's see here, August.
And July meeting is the 14th.
All right, hold on, August, yes, okay. So, the 11th, the 18th, or the 25th, or the 4th.
The week of the 18th, somewhere within that week. That week, I will probably be in Virginia taking my son back to school.
11th,
How about the 4th?
4th?
Done early.
Fine with me. Is 4th good with everybody?
August
Yeah.
4th?
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I won't be here.
It's
What are
too
you
early
gonna be
for hunting.
I'll be in Maine.
He'll be fishing.
And that's okay, because you'll be recused, Woodlands is going forward, you'll be recused anyway.
Yeah.
All right, 7 o'clock.
7 o'clock, okay. All right, and then I think, so with that being said, I make a motion to go into executive session.
Second.
You have to, yeah, and then you have to do roll call vote.
Okay, all right, motion's been made and seconded. Let's see, Nicole,
Aye.
Alan? Mike?
Aye.
George?
Aye.
And I'm an aye. All right, good night, everybody.